We are all mosaics and reflections of everything and everyone around us. And everything around us, our environment, our rooms, the people around us, are reflections and extensions of our own mind and ourselves. Oh, hey everyone. My name's Andrew, as some of you may know, and this is Andrew's Lens. So let me just elaborate on that kind of wishy-washy, confusing and cryptic intro for you. I just want to talk about how, we look around us and everything that we do, everything we see, everyone we interact with, our environment is a reflection and an extension of ourselves. I'm sure you've noticed this before, like you walk down the street and you see a dog that's with their owner and you think, wow, that dog just perfectly suits that person. Or, I don't know, someone's car that just seems to perfectly match their personality. You know what I mean? King of the castle. I mean, like for example, like I look at my mate who has a Ford Ranger as a car, and I think, God, that just suits him perfectly. And it sort of makes me think, like, does the car suit him perfectly because it suits his personality and hence he chose it? Or is his personality molded by the fact that he bought a Ranger and hence it suits him? Oh, bloody ticks. Bloody ticks. I have to watch out for that today. Ticks. Ugh, gross. And it's just sort of got me thinking, like, what direction of causality is that occurring in? Like, are these people influencing their environment so that their personality suits them? Or does their environment mold them to become who they are? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, what direction of causality is it occurring in? Let's figure that out. Let's talk about it. Well, I think like many things, there's just no clear-cut answer to this. It's a bit of a chicken and the egg situation, and I think it goes both ways. Like, I look at my mate who drives a Ranger and I think, is he who he is because he drives a Ranger? Or did the Ranger influence who he is and hence it suits him? I don't know. I hope this is making sense and I'm not just talking utter bull dust. But yeah, I hope it is food for thought for you all. But I'm sure you've noticed this phenomenon before in the past. I'm sure you can think of tons of examples of this. Like, I think clothing is a really big one. I feel like what we wear accentuates our personality so much. I think of people who care a lot about what they wear and all power to them. And I think about one of my mates who, bought 2 shirts, 2 shorts and 1 suit and a few other bits and bobs to college, and that's all he bought. And, that just suits him so well because he's such a non-materialistic person. He's very to the point, and I feel like it suits him so well. Yeah, I mean, I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but I think that that's partially the purpose of wearing clothes, is to accentuate our personality through them. Another thing I want to talk about on quite a similar note is the fact that our rooms and our houses, our living spaces, can essentially be seen as extensions of our mind. I know this might sound a little bit weird, but I love seeing people's rooms because you can tell so much about a person from it. It really is kind of an extension of their mind. It represents them so much. Is it messy? Is it clean? Is everything shoved under their bed? Do they decorate it well? What with? And what does that say about them as a person and what they value? Is their room inviting to others? Is there beer cans strewn everywhere? Is their desk clean? Is it messy? Is it well organised? How do they arrange the decorations in their room based on their value? What photos do they have up and what are they of and who are they of? How does that tell you how they value those things? Oh, it's all just so interesting to me. I actually love it. And I think we've all thought about it from the other side too. What if I put this here? And what does that tell people about me when they see it? Oh, I'd better clean my room. I wouldn't want to be seen as messy and disorganized. Oh, I should probably make my bed so it looks like I'm on top of everything. So yeah, I do think that our environment and our manipulable environment is an indication of ourselves. But I also think that, obviously we have the capacity to change that. And I do think that that is actually the first step in enacting change and growth in yourself, is to improve the environment that you live in, manipulate it so that it helps you to enact the change that you want to make. Like, If you want to be a more organised person, put a calendar on your wall and make your bed and organise your desk better. If you want to be a more creative person, put some art supplies around and put some art on your wall. If you want to try and eat healthier, put the correct foods in your pantry and put some healthy cookbooks in your kitchen. I think that these environmental changes can help us enact change that we want to make in our lives. I suppose, in a way, you could see this phenomenon as a feedback loop. Our environment shapes who we are, and we shape our environment. And we are just continuing in circles, manipulating our environment to reinforce our values, our ideas and passions, which themselves can be instilled in us by our environment. But this can't be the case because as people, we constantly evolve, we constantly grow, we're constantly changing our values and our hobbies. So maybe an ascending spiral, like that, is more akin to the interplay between us, our personality, our being, with our environment. And I think that this is a nice view of life. And obviously life is vastly more complicated and intricate than just an ascending spiral, but I think when we simplify it down, it's a nice aspiration to have in our life, to constantly be rising and expanding our circle as we grow and grow on the previous. I think it's a nice way of looking at it. It's a nice thing to aspire to. One thing that I know for sure is it's certainly better than being caught in a loop. When I moved about 2.5 years ago, I didn't realise that every decision I made, the music I listened to, the posters I put on my wall, the sports that I played, the people that I interacted with, everything was influencing who I am. And I like to think that after 2.5 years, I've sort of built on that. I've expanded my circle as I've done a few loops. And I'm excited to keep doing that in the future. I know that I won't be like this forever, and I will continue to hopefully expand my spiral and move upward. And that's all I can aspire to do, really, is just build on the foundations that I keep building myself. A personal anecdote of this self and environment connection that I'm talking about is the fact that I'm in my hometown right now, and I'm normally at uni. And I found that while I'm down here, my psyche seems to more align with that of when I was 18, when I last lived at home. And I find that quite interesting because it's almost as if my environment remembers me and it influences me again. And when I'm back in Perth, I feel like my 20-year-old self again. It's a subtle difference, but it's definitely noticeable. And it's interesting to see how we sort of remember places and places remember us. And maybe it's the case that when we go to these places, we are different people because our environment is shaping who we are. Like when I'm down here, maybe I feel more like my 18-year-old self because that environment that made me feel the way I did when I was 18 is around me now and is influencing me now. So maybe psychologically, I am more akin to my 18-year-old self because it's the same environment or a similar environment that's influencing me. I reckon if you start thinking about this and looking out for it more, you'll notice it a bit more too. Next time you go out to a friend's house or your old childhood home or walk past an old sports club or something like that, see how it makes you feel. When you go to a cafe, think about how the design choices of the place make you feel. Personally, when a cafe has lots of plants and is a bit more open, I feel a lot calmer compared to when there's like little greenery and it's all cramped and stuff. The environment around us strongly influences who we are, and particularly the ones that we can own and manipulate can be representations of our minds and ourselves as people. I also want to quickly talk about the idea that we are all mosaics of the people that are closest to us. I'm sure you've felt it. You suddenly start picking up lingo, you act like them, you start having the same hobbies, and you like and dislike the same things. I suppose that from an evolutionary perspective, it makes a lot of sense. We want to be like each other because it promotes a sense of community, and it means that we are a part of the group, which is important for our survival. But I think it is such a beautiful sentiment that we are all pieces of art, composed of our own colours, but also the colours that make up the people we love and care about, or have loved and have cared about. I think the official quote for this is, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with," by Jim Rohn, I believe. But yeah, I like to think of it as however many people are really close to you that are really meaningful to you, instead of the 5 people you spend the most time with, because obviously, we go to work with someone for 10 hours a day, and we might like them, but the person that we spend 3 hours a day with at the end of the day is the person that's most important to us and is going to be most like us and influences us the most. I suppose the obvious manifestation of this is mirroring, where we copy other people's gestures, feelings, and thoughts, etc. This phenomenon is well known to be mediated by mirror neurons, which are super cool. They fire when you perform a certain action, and they also fire when you watch someone perform that action as if you did the action yourself. They're super interesting. And I would assert that it really brings a whole new meaning to the idea of monkey see, monkey do. These neurons are postulated to be involved in empathy, learning, and maybe even the evolution of language. But I'll cut myself off there because I could talk about these things all day because they are right up my alley. On a similar note, the idea of physiological synchrony is the tendency for physiological parameters such as heart rate or electrical activity to synchronize in individuals who are in close relationships and are physically together. This is known as emotional contagion and can result in mirroring of emotions. And that leads well into my next point, which is that I've always thought that to care deeply for someone is to have a part of them in you and to put a part of yourself in them. And I think that this sentiment pairs perfectly with the idea that I'm trying to convey. A part of them exists in you. It influences how you act, think, and feel. It is a part of the mosaic, the conglomeration of who you are. In this way, it is almost a sharing of life. Your lives become intertwined in a way. And this is probably more of a reason to make sure you surround yourself with good people, with people that you like and you would like to see in yourself. Just like how you would want to enact change in yourself with changes to your environment, like your house or your room, you can also change the people around you to make sure that you like what you see in them and hopefully what they will give to you. Anyway, I hope at least some of this made sense and you maybe got something out of this. I'm noticing that I have a lot of these intricate thoughts, but I'm really bad at putting them into words, so maybe I just need to do a bit more reading and writing. Maybe Mum was right, I should have picked up a book. But yeah, as I said, I hope you got something out of this, or I at least made some sense. The crux of what I'm trying to say is that even if it is subtle or barely noticeable, everything and everyone you interact with is influencing your life. Aren't they, Hammy? Yeah. And this is something you should be aware of. Anyway, thanks for listening to my yap sesh. Have a good day, everyone, and please like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. What do you reckon? What do you reckon, Hammy? We don't eat it.